a new day. Yes, it is. Or is it? I don't know. I'm Dominic D'Angelo. This is Rumor and Innuendo. We're going to get our take from Robert Karpelis, WB Creative _ish. Robert, happy Tuesday. Are you feeling happy?
Oh, there is no joy in Mudville. What an episode of Monday Night Raw that was last evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to get into it. We are going to dissect it, pick it apart, touch on a couple of the other news and notes around the world of wrestling. But first, say hi to some of the folks that are joining us live from around the world. E says, the New Day segment, just wow. Kofi, when the so what and the Edge reference was cool. Willie Thornbrew says, heel New Day, I am here for it. Feel the power. Johnny Disco, it's a new day, RNI, question mark. Maybe it is. Alt Jake says, best December Raw ever last night. And Wrestling Old Head has a theory. He said, after that New Day segment, I wonder if Vigo the Carpathian had the pink slime oozing under the arena. Dom, we did not know what we were going to expect on the Raw after Survivor Series, and WWE planted its flag and said the post-Survivor Series Raw is now an important milestone, just like the post-WrestleMania Raw.
Yeah, it really felt like that, didn't it, Robert? I mean, like, you think about how they kicked the show off, what happened in the middle, and then in the end, too. It's just everything.
Yes, that would be the whole show, Dom. The beginning, the middle, and the end. Nothing gets by you. Best in the business.
That's it. So, yeah, lots to cover. I guess we'll just kick it off from the top. CM Punk entered out, state his intentions for the road to WrestleMania and how there's many roads to get to where he wants to be. But who interrupts but Seth Rollins? And he's got a score to settle and is clearly obsessed with CM Punk. But CM Punk pulled the Don Draper and says, I don't think about you at all. And got heated contention there. Mini pull apart. And we had a match get set up between him, Seth Rollins, and Sami Zayn for the main event. I felt mixed about this segment, but I want your thoughts, Robert.
Well, hold on. I'm curious because you had texted that you felt mixed about this. What made you feel mixed about this 26-minute long segment?
Yeah. So I thought it was just strange for almost shoehorned in Seth coming out and having quibs with CM Punk. And then after what we saw with Seth over the past couple of weeks when it comes to him trying to be recruited by Sami Zayn and the Bloodline, it kind of felt, I understand they have a history and everything, but it just kind of felt out of left field and not really warranted at this juncture. And then ultimately, and the reason I feel mixed is because the setup with Sami and Seth later on ultimately satisfied what I was kind of looking for. And I thought delivered then later on for what was told. So that's kind of why I felt a little mixed.
So I guess I was a little bit more bullish on this segment than you were. I like that it was this idea that CM Punk was arriving at the building, and then he's greeted by Jey Uso and Sami Zayn to kind of give it a tip of the hat that, yes, we just had War Games. Yes, it was an epic War Games. Yes, our side won. But Punk is there saying, hey, it's time to focus. This is Rumblemania season. We are officially kicking off the what's going to happen going forward. So I'm going to point at an invisible WrestleMania sign. I'm going to say that I'm going to finish my story. I've got this favor. So we're reminding the audience he has a mission when he first came back saying, I want to be a world champion. He has a mission saying he's never main evented a WrestleMania. He's reminding you that he has this favor. And it's the first time he's been on Raw since returning. It's the first time being on Raw since the Hell in a Cell match. And it's the first time he's there where Seth is in the same building. So the fact that Punk is talking about, I am focused on WrestleMania, and then Seth Rollins is coming out and he's like, hey, now you should be focused on me. I like that because it did feel like that would be the next logical step for Seth to say, look, I want to continue this fight. And Punk being like, nah, if you have the title, sure, I'll give you the time of day. But you don't have the title. I don't think about you at all, which is a great line to steal from Don Draper.
Yep.
And then the tension building up to the way that there was physicality between the two of them. It did not feel like normal physicality. There was profanity. There was what felt like live rounds, even though they weren't live rounds. So there was an air of danger that made you remember, hey, this is a guy who had a backstage kerfuffle with the EVPs. This is a guy who had a Tony Khan fearing for his life brawl with Jack Perry. So let's continue that feeling. But I also love that Jey Uso and Sami Zayn would logically go out there to pull them apart because they are, at least in Sami's case, he's friends with Seth Rollins. They
Yeah.
acknowledged without acknowledging it, hey, we used to be in Ring of Honor together, or at least a fairly generic wrestler would be in Ring of Honor with Tyler Black. But this notion that Sammy's going to go help his new friend CM Punk, Jey Uso's going to help his new friend CM Punk. They do the pull apart, and then it's the fact that Seth took the shot at Jay, and then took the shot at Sammy, which is like, I get why you guys are helping Roman. I get it, he's family, but what the hell, man? Like, we're good friends. Why are you working with this guy? It was a lot of heated emotions. It felt like we've set up a number of interesting stories going forward, and it was less about we beat the new bloodline and more look at what the landscape is right now. We've now established we're going to get to a Seth Rollins CM Punk match. We've now established that CM Punk is coming for the world title, that CM Punk wants to main event WrestleMania. At the same time, there's this torn Sami Zayn who's becoming a little bit more unhinged because he's forced to logically explain why he's helping Roman, which is so paralleling the story you have over on SmackDown with Cody and Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, and them trying to reconcile their allegiances. So it was a lot of story. I thought it was very effective to say we're moving forward and here's where we're going.
To follow up, I know it's early, but you talked about before in the months leading up to Survivor Series that Sami Zayn could possibly turn heel. Do you like this direction that they are seemingly to take with Sami as a follow up? I mean, in the immediate.
So again, I would have liked to have seen a heel Sami Zayn just because I didn't want to see him get lost in the shuffle. Seeing how Raw ended, obviously Sami's not going to be lost in the shuffle in the immediacy.
Yeah,
and we will definitely get to that later on in the show.
Yes, we will. Next up was Damage Control versus Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. We had a little backstage segment too, I believe, wasn't it, with the Judgment Day and everything going down, a little tension between Liv and Finn. But Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez get the win, furthering their feud with Io Sky. Rhea Ripley, who runs into the ring, so she's obviously in the mix. Any thoughts on this, Robert?
Can we stop at the eye? The eye stuff makes me nervous. Yeah. The eye stuff makes me nervous because one of the low points a couple years ago, doing working stiff back when it was WrestleRoast, and it's still one of the low points, was the Seth Rollins Rey Mysterio eye for an eye match, which I still quantify as one of the single dumbest things this company possibly has ever done. So when I see, oh no, her eye hit the corner of the table after the last ocular injury, I do not want another eye for an eye match. So I'm very worried about this. I was a little surprised that they pinned Kairi Sane clean. Just because I think that you need a fresh damage control, given that Jade Cargill is on the shelf. You need a babyface tag team who's potentially able to step in there and become tag team champions.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But, Io Sky, you need to further her feud with Liv Morgan while also furthering the Rhea Ripley feud. We know the Io Sky feud is a placeholder. It's for Saturday night's main event. We will get to a Rhea Liv rematch at some point down the road. So from that perspective, this was totally fine.
Yeah. Just continues what's going on. So nothing too surprising, I guess. We did have something that I thought interesting was this Women's Intercontinental Championship tournament match, triple threat. They're following up the same way that SmackDown has done with the United States Championship. But we have Dakota Kai, Katana Chance versus Shayna Baszler. Dakota Kai advances. I like where this is going, Robert, especially it's this could be a big moment for Dakota Kai if they decide to run with her with the title.
It could. I think that there may be some hesitancy on their part that she's been bit by the injury bug now twice in the
Mhm,
last 3 years and has spent a significant amount of time on the shelf. I don't know where they ultimately go with this Intercontinental title. I could have seen it falling to Shayna Baszler because I
mhm.
think Shayna Baszler, if it is a workhorse title, she's obviously someone that can deliver in the ring and is a killer and is someone that can go on an unstoppable run at an intercontinental level. I think Tana Chance, this was her first time having a singles match on Raw, or at least competing as a singles competitor. It was a triple threat match. It was
Yeah.
fine. I can see them trying to do the novelty of giving it to Natalia as a reward for having been there for so long and being the true workhorse of the women's division. These triple threat matches don't particularly excite me all that much, but I get we're getting to a destination point. We also had another destination point in a segment with Gunther
Mhm.
being confronted by Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio, furthering on what we talked about coming out of Survivor Series.
Right, right. And yeah, I think it's a good direction. Gunther still feels credible and has his reasoning as to why he's not interested in, like, he doesn't have any affection for Finn. So I like the segment, Robert, and I like the match that we'll talk about here in a little bit too.
Yes, but the next segment is yeah.
Yes.
So um
You want to start?
please don't. Please don't. Okay. The best way that I can sort of touch upon this, and I tweeted this last night, and
Mhm.
I feel it's still appropriate today. Um there was a feeling when you were in the audience at the movie theater during Avengers Infinity War.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for a 5, 6 year old movie. And everybody starts turning to dust. And there's just this awkward silence that's going on, and everyone is just, what is happening? That is what we got here with this New Day segment. They, to paraphrase Vince Russo, it was a swerve, bro. Um, it seemed like Kofi and Xavier were sitting the kids down to say, while we still love one another, good news, you're getting 2 Christmases.
Yeah.
And then it just took a turn. Um, it looked like they were going to split. We've come to the end of the road. They have the big Bootios box. They have all the decorations. There was a great video package reminding you of all these wonderful moments. And when it looks like they're going to be over, Big E comes out. And this is kind of what we all expected. We thought this is going to be the Big E return. He's going to give the pep talk. It's going to be happy, happy, joy, joy. And it took a turn. I remember, I'm old enough now I remember when Sean threw Marty through the barbershop window, which, by the
Mhm.
way, is the anniversary of that today.
Wow.
That was a definitive moment of like, whoa, I can't believe we are seeing this. The way that Woods and Kofi tore in to Big E was vicious. We all
Yeah.
kind of knew, all right, Xavier Woods is going down this heel route. So him saying oh, you're going to be our manager now. Where have you been this whole time? And then Kofi doubling down on it. Um, to paraphrase The Simpsons, you can pinpoint the exact moment where Big E's heart breaks in half.
Yeah.
It was so well done. I know some people were a little critical that they felt it went a little long and you didn't really have a definitive end because you can't do physicality to Big E. But some of the bombs they were throwing at him, you're never going to be cleared. Steve Austin came back. Kurt Angle came back. You're not coming back. You're not tough enough to be in this business. We don't want you as our manager because you didn't prioritize us when you chose to prioritize your health and your family. which is ultimate Carney promoter nonsense.
Yes, it is.
And any reservations I had as to whether or not they were going to position Woods as a strong heel immediately went out the window. These dudes are going to have nuclear heat.
Yes, yes, they are. Robert, like swerves in pro wrestling can be like overdone and sometimes not warranted. This was when it feels like this is what you want out of a swerve when it comes to it, because it's like the expectations were we did never had this on our radar when it came to what they were going to do. It was either, hey, Big E's going to galvanize them all together, or maybe Woods will be the heel and turn on both New Day and something could happen. The fact that both turned on Big E and made that, then they galvanized, was off the radar. And it does make sense, like how they pitched it, how they all laid it out. And yes, the digs they took at Big E were as harsh, if not harsher, than the ones they did to one another the week before. So really, really good stuff. This is a lot of reasons why I love pro wrestling, and the blurring of the lines in a society and time where it's hard to do for pro wrestling. Yeah, they did a very nice job with this.
I think that they pulled this off perfectly, and I will recommend to everybody, if you did not get a chance to read it, I want to make sure I have the exact website information. But Big E wrote an article that's published on the Players Tribune,
Mhm.
where he talks about his childhood. It's a very emotional article. It builds up why he loves wrestling. It talks about his time playing football. There are elements of his mental health battles that he had over the years, and how important New Day was. And it felt like this was pushing you towards this New Day reconciliation. I don't think anybody expected how this was going to end. And I think that the three of them pulled this off perfectly. You're still thinking about it now, a day later, and it's still that gut punch. And I think
It is.
that's what's really amazing. It did kind of make the rest of Raw suffer a little bit, because I think that audience was completely shell shocked.
Yeah, but I think in the grand scheme of it, it's a good thing, because you want to think about, like, man, the impact that that all left on everybody. It makes for those big historic moments, and I think that you have the 10-year anniversary and the celebration and the pomp and circumstance with all that stuff, but then you drop the bombshell of what happened, and it elevates that to a historic moment for WWE in general. So I like it. I liked it a lot, and very happy with the direction. And it's a new day for the New Day.
It is a new day for the New Day. Um, it was same old for Dominic Mysterio. He took on Gunther.
Hmm.
Dom looked fine in this match. I think he's a great heel, but it was almost smart to do a heel versus heel match after this segment, because you knew the audience was not really going to know what they were supposed to do during a Dominic Mysterio Gunther match. So let them sit quietly, let them reflect on what they just saw, and just enjoy Gunther smacking the holy hell out of Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, yeah. I thought this was fun. I thought this kind of built Dom up more, even as a great heel. Because he did the low blow on Gunther, hit the frog splash. I think it really leaned into the Eddie Guerrero vibe he gives off and that he wants to give off. So I liked this a lot. I thought it helped both guys out in a lot of ways, and furthers the Finn situation with Gunther as well. So I liked it, Robert. Hey, you know what I also
Absolutely.
like?
We got
Yes,
what do you like, Dom?
I I was gonna segue into True Classic. I like True Classic. Yeah.
This
Um,
is, by the way, guys, this is why I tend to handle the ad reads.
that's it.
As natural as Dom was, I tell you what, Dom, I'll take this. I'll take this from here,
You go for it. You go for it.
by all means. So here's the thing: is you got the graphic up and everything. Um, as you know, we were off for most of last week. Last week, I was in New York City for Thanksgiving, and I experienced a plethora of seasons in a very short amount of time. Most specifically was when I went to the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade on Thursday. I was out there at 4:45 in the morning to get my spot until 11 o'clock in the morning. It was 30 degrees. It was raining. and I had on my True Classic jeans. I had a True Classic t-shirt on underneath my sweatshirt and my jacket. The sweatshirt, the jacket soaked. The True Classic jeans and the shirt underneath dried within an hour or two of me being outside. It fit perfectly. It rebounded nicely. I put it through the wash. They both look just as fresh as they did. I genuinely cannot speak enough about how great this is. Um, they have best-selling t-shirts, hoodies, jeans, and more. They come in packs of 3, 6, or 9. So if you find the style you like, you find the size that you like, you find different colors that you want, you can just order these and fill out your entire wardrobe. They're premium products at an affordable price. These shirts are designed your best features. They're snug in the arms and chest with just the right amount of room in the midsection. And given that it was Thanksgiving weekend and I was going to be eating a ton of food, it was definitely appreciated. There's a lot of fall winter must-haves there. You're going to have these long sleeve hoodies, some waffle hoodies, jeans, button-ups, joggers, and more. There's also activewear, which is great for, like I said, I was outside in that parade for 6 hours. You would have been smelling pretty rank after that point. I was fine, didn't get any strange looks on the Long Island Railroad. You can mix and match these clothing to work within your lifestyle. There is a 100% perfect fit guarantee and easy returns. They get shipped to your house. You try them on. If you don't like it for any reason, you ship it back. You can adjust it. It is trusted by over 4 million customers with over 200,000 positive reviews. We talk wrestling. You can go online and read a ton of wrestling opinions. How often are you seeing 200,000 plus positive reviews for anything? And guys, fall is here. It's time to step up your game. Right now, you can unlock big savings when you bundle packs. Just use our exclusive link at trueclassic.com/rumor to save. That's trueclassic.com/rumor. Shop now and elevate your wardrobe today.
Heck yeah. True Classic is awesome. I love it. I love it as a sponsor. And great stuff. I've been wearing it to all the professional gigs I go to too. So it speaks to the style you can wear it with.
What professional gigs are you? I just picture you like in a tuxedo and a True Classic T-shirt.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. When I do wrestling media events. Hey, speaking of events, we had R-Truth taking on Pete Dunne.
I was going to see if you remember where we were. Yes.
Yeah.
Jey Uso got attacked in the back room running. Who did it? But who cares? We were getting to Pete Dunne versus R-Truth. Short, to the point. It was nice to have representation for both of them. Obviously, we will get a true rematch. And at some point, we will get Pete Dunne tearing into R-Truth, who's another beloved babyface that you can leverage to build a proper heel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Some other segments that we should touch upon too before we get to the main event. Karrion Kross cuts a little package promo regarding what happened the week before with Scarlett being attacked. I really like this, Robert. I think that they're putting a final cool spin on Karrion Kross and kind of making him feel like somebody that's credible to go up against a mysterious faction like the Wyatt Six.
You talking about Karrion Kross's little package almost made me want to do a Blue Chew sponsor read, but that's not for today.
No.
From a good rumor, but yeah, it was fun. It was a good reminder of what we're going to get next week. I think Karrion Kross is finding his footing as a character. It's sort of less spooky and more menacing, and I'm all for it.
Yes, me too. Me too. Looks like we're going to be all for Finn Balor taking on Gunther. Saturday night's main event. Adam Pearce made it official, but also noted that Finn Balor has another title he has to worry about too. Did you like this setup? And do you think it's a good way? It's a good thing for Saturday's main event. Do you like that match?
I would not be shocked if Damian Priest found his way into this match.
Sure, yeah.
I feel like Priest was not on this show. We will get something with Priest returning and winding up in this. I'd be surprised if they did a Finn Balor Gunther straight up heel versus heel match on Saturday night's main event. But if they did, those two would be very, very entertaining.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited for that show in general, just the presentation of it all and what we can expect. Cool little throwback. So they're setting it up pretty nicely. We had the main event, Robert, Sami Zayn taking on Seth Rollins. With Seth Rollins gets the win after rolling up Sami Zayn and the controversy of who attacked Jey Uso Seth Rollins tried to talk Sammy down and took advantage and got the win. Then later on, we get Drew McIntyre returning to close out the show. Joe Tessitore does a fabulous job at not, hey, who's that guy in the hood? He just tells right out it's Drew McIntyre. So always like that little addition. Robert, what did you think of the closing segment, this main event?
Strong main event. The idea that these are guys who are fighting each other reluctantly,
Mm-hmm.
and Seth weaving the storyline in when Sammy's holding that chair and he's like, I didn't attack Jay. Cool. It makes sense. Seth catches the quick pin, and then Drew McIntyre, being the surprise return, again gives it that Raw after WrestleMania feel. Now you have Drew McIntyre back. He's going to have issue with Jey Uso. He's going to have issue with Sami Zayn. You got Seth Rollins and CM Punk. You got the Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Gunther situation going on. It's clear we're setting up a Ludwig Kaiser Braun Breaker match. It's what's next for New Day. There's two different women that are chasing after Liv Morgan. There's a lot of stuff just going on, and it feels like there's a tremendous amount of forward momentum.
Does it feel overwhelming for a 2-hour program?
No, because if you grew up in the Attitude Era, you just got 40 to 50 segments
Yeah.
thrown at you at any given point in time. And the reason why it doesn't feel overwhelming is because these are all mapped out and they're all going someplace.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't getting, Emelina commercials for 3 months straight and then she never really debuts.
Yeah.
Everything here is moving to something else, and they've proven with that New Day story had a very long tail to it. As you see your cat in the background,
Right.
we got a payoff,
Mm-hmm.
and what a payoff it was.
Absolutely. It was. And that's the neat thing about these stories, too. Yeah, it could feel overwhelming, maybe, but it really doesn't because they're going to follow through with it. And hey, there's always a potential that these stories can intermingle and connect with one another, too. So, sets it up for nice programming moving forward to close out the year. And then, hey, once it hits Netflix, should be an exciting time as well, Robert. So, very good show. I did like it a lot, and I think it does speak. Do you think this is a signification that this will be um, a tentpole event, the Raw after Survivor Series moving forward?
I'd say why not? There is no PLE between now and Royal Rumble. There's
Mhm.
Saturday Night's Main Event, but that's obviously on network television. So you have a long runway between now and I think it's the beginning of February is the Rumble this year, which feels weird. But you've now got a lot of folks who have returned and a lot of potential winners of the Royal Rumble when you look at Jey Uso and Sami Zayn and Punk and Rollins and Drew all being positioned strongly. Not to mention whoever doesn't beat Gunther will wind up in that Rumble match.
But yeah,
Um,
John Cena, The Rock.
there's still John Cena. There's still The Rock. There's still a bunch of folks over on SmackDown. There's still all the Bloodline people going on here. It's a very exciting time. It sounds like this may also be a pretty exciting time for Josh Alexander.
Yes, Josh Alexander revealed to Chris Van Vliet that he is going to become a free agent in 2025, specifically February 15th. I'll be a free agent. TNA announced they extended me. They put a year extension on February 14th last year into free agency for the first time. Robert, obviously, he had a tag team history with someone like Ethan Page when they did the North together. He's former TNA champion. They really leaned on him a lot over the course of the past few years. Could you see him being a viable commodity for WWE?
I would see more WWE than AEW right now. I think AEW has taken on a lot of projects of late. I can see Josh Alexander fitting in nicely to start in NXT and then transition over to the main roster. I think
Mhm.
he would be a great veteran that the mainstream audience might not be super familiar with. Let him be one of the faces of CW and then move him over to Raw or SmackDown and really fill things out. You could see him being plugged into the Intercontinental title situation going on SmackDown. I think he could absolutely find a home somewhere on Raw. Wrestling Old Head points out here he'd be a great partner for Chad Gable.
Yeah.
I would love to see him in American Made. I think that would be great, even though he is technically
Canadian.
Canadian.
Yes.
But speaking of proud Americans, Dominic D'Angelo hosts a number of podcasts with a number proud Americans, including the guy from Battle Creek, Michigan, Mr. Rob Van Dam.
That's correct. Rob Van Dam and I recorded on Sunday, a late one, but it's up now. He tells some great stories about WECW and further up some thoughts on that. So we dive into some good topics on there. Getting ready for Christmas too, so fun stuff there. Be sure to tune in. RVDTV.com. It's up there now, live. Some new clips up there too. So be sure to like, subscribe, share. And you can also get it on your podcast feed of choice, one of a kind with RVD. Hey, speaking of which, me and Magnum TA, Greg Gagne, going to go live today at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on 4horsemanetwork.com. We're going to chat about Survivor Series. We're going to chat about Raw. We're going to chat about New Day. Cover a lot of good topics, and we'll take your questions as well. So be sure, 4horsemanetwork.com. And Arn Anderson will be on after that, too. So big Super Tuesday for OneTrueSportTV.com. Robert, you and Scott are getting ready to record something, too.
Myself and Scott Chapman are going to be recording in just a little while our Patreon, talking about all things Survivor Series, the fallout of what happened with New Day, maybe what happened in AEW last week, since to date I have still not watched last week's AEW, nor have I really heard anything about it anywhere. So if you make a television show and nobody talks about it, did it really happen? I'm not entirely sure. What I will say is Wrestling Old Head asks, Robert, real quick question. What's your favorite underrated John Hughes movies? The hits don't count. It's a very small list of films that I would say don't necessarily qualify as hits of his. I know that one of my best friends, one of his all time favorite films is Only the Lonely. So I will give that the nod if we're gonna qualify there. But my go to John Hughes film every Thanksgiving, we watch Home Alone. And we caught it this year. It was wonderful. This is wonderful, and we're glad that we get to do this every Monday through Friday at noon Eastern on a plethora of platforms, including WWE Creative_ish X account, the SE Scoops X account, and on YouTube on Working Stiff, Rumor and Innuendo, and ad-free shows. So on behalf of the man who has single-handedly brought down the entire New York Jets franchise, Dominic D'Angelo, I'm Robert Karpolis. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
Vinny Testaverde, new coach. Yeah.